Howdy folks, I'm Unbirthday Brian.
And I'm Birthday Amber.
And here's some birthday Reddit? Probably. Maybe. Alright folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for calling my father-in-law a creep? I have a 7-month-old baby boy, and I'm breastfeeding, but currently he is weaning. I'm convinced that my father-in-law is being weird about my breastfeeding and not in a that makes me uncomfortable way. I made the baby popsicles from my breast milk a few months ago, and father-in-law put in a group chat that he would, quote, love to try one of those, with heart eye emojis. I said, what in the world? Those are made of breast milk. And he said that he didn't notice the caption. Today, I baked the baby some muffins. It's a recipe that called for half a cup of breast milk, so I made it per the recipe. Father-in-law came over unannounced and said, oh yum, somebody's been baking. So I told him that those muffins are for the baby, and they're just fruit, flour, and breast milk. I have normal cake that we can have. I then left the room and washed my hands and came back and one of the muffins were missing. I asked my husband and he had no idea, so I asked my father-in-law and he said that he ate it. I said, that's disgusting. I told him that they were for the baby and they contained breast milk. He doubled down and said it's okay because breast milk is vegan. Note, no one in the story is vegan. I told him that it's creepy and to get out of my house. Husband is baffled by the whole thing and was convinced that it was a misunderstanding even though I explicitly said they were made of breast milk. Father-in-law says that I'm a jerk because I made loads and the baby wouldn't miss out. Mother-in-law was blowing up my phone until I asked her if she was really okay with father-in-law drinking milk that came directly from my breasts. I think she didn't get the whole story. My sister says that it's gross and father-in-law is a weirdo. Alright folks, what do you think of this very bizarre, odd story?
Definitely not the jerk here. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that father-in-law is doing this intentionally, that he's getting some kind of pleasure, creepy pleasure out of doing this.
It's either some kind of morbid curiosity where he's just like, oh, I want to try that, or it's some kind of weird fetish.
My guess is fetish.
And he's just trying to include you in this, and it's really odd and very unsettling.
And the thing about fetishes is that they should not be done without people's consent. You very clearly have expressed that you are not okay with this, and he keeps trying to do this, and it is just gross.
Yeah, well, and his first whole thing was like, oh, I just didn't read the caption. And I think he was originally just trying to test the waters and push those boundaries. And then when you kind of recoiled, he was like, oh, I just didn't see the caption. And now he can claim that, oh, he just didn't understand when you said that they were made of breast milk or something like that, right? Because clearly your mother-in-law also didn't get the picture, and then he probably just told her a very distorted version of it.
Yeah, that OP kicked him out for eating one of her muffins.
Yeah.
That she had a ton of, and
for the baby.
Yeah.
So she clearly didn't get the whole story, and it seems like he knows, like, and if he didn't tell the whole story, then he knows what he's doing is gross and creepy. So that's what I'm thinking here, but let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care, and good luck. And our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my sister that I don't care about how her wedding turns out? I'm a 29-year-old male and my sister is a 26-year-old female and has always been incredibly spoiled. It's always her way or the highway. So I knew that when she got engaged that she would be a handful. Her wedding is coming up in about a year and she has already started the planning. She sat us all down, my mother, father, and my other sister, and told us what they had decided for their theme. Now personally, I think it's a little tacky to put a theme on a wedding, but it's not my wedding, so I held my tongue. Her theme is nature, and it was applied to everything? She wanted a floral lace dress, succulents as favors, and for the ceremony to take place in a greenhouse. Again, tacky, but not my wedding, so I didn't say anything. The issue arose when it came time to talk about the reception venue. She said that she wanted it to be an outdoors thing, and one of those huge event tents with windows so that we could be in nature. My whole family hated this idea, and an outdoor reception just seemed very cheap and not at all classy. We suggested that she go with something a little more classic, like an event venue, but she had her mind set. I got really upset because the entire family was telling her that they would prefer one thing, and she was insisting that she do another thing when she was literally the only person who wanted it, as if the bride's opinions matters at all. At first, I tried to go easy on her by telling her that themed weddings are just a fad, and if she commits to her theme so heavily, she'll look back in 20 years and cringe. And that it's better to choose something timeless, like a simpler dress and a hotel ballroom. I said that she could definitely incorporate flowers into the centerpieces and decorations if she wanted, but to have the whole wedding just centered around plants and flowers just seemed like too much. Never one to take my advice. My sister just said that she's sorry that we feel this way, but her and her fiance have wanted this for their wedding for years, and they spent a lot of time coming up with their details together, and they wanted their wedding to reflect their personalities and who they are as a couple, and she didn't think that my timeless suggestion would be able to do that. Here's where I might be the jerk. I kind of let my frustration get better of me and said, fine, I don't care if your wedding turns out to be tacky. I knew you were going to be inflexible bridezilla anyways. I do think that she was being too rigid and just thinking about what she would like instead of what her family and guests would prefer. But my parents say that it's my sister's wedding and that it wasn't cool for me to say that I didn't care. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk, and I'm getting some vibes that your sister isn't nearly as spoiled as you seem to think she is. It sounds like she just has her own ideas that don't match with yours.
Yeah.
Like, this wedding sounds lovely. Nothing about this, like, there are some wedding ideas out there that seem like they would be deeply uncomfortable for the guests, but having an outdoor reception in a tent, like, you're still shielded from the elements.
Yeah.
And, like,
yeah.
nothing about this sounds like, oh, my guests are going to be cold and miserable or riding circus implements to get to the wedding venue or something.
Or being nude.
Or that too,
right?
You know.
We've got the nudist one here too. Yeah, I think that there's nothing here that's unreasonable. And I could understand it if by nature she meant that she was going to release a bunch of mosquitoes into the tent so that everyone has to suffer. Like, oh, I just like a mosquito themed wedding, right?
Yeah.
That could be deeply uncomfortable, and I could see people being like, hey, maybe we don't all share your love of mosquitoes like you do.
But like floral lace dress, like how is that tacky? Like, first of all, I love theme weddings. It's really kind of frustrating to me. Like, the traditional weddings can be great, and there's no shame in doing them. But like, weddings are supposed to be about the couple, and the people are like, if you want to do something that celebrates you as a couple that you both really enjoy, like the outdoors, there'll be people going. But tradition, as if that's like a good excuse to just not do something that you really love. And it's like, if she genuinely loves this, she's not going to look back in 20 years and be like, oh, that was tacky.
And I mean, even if she does look back in 20 years and says that it's tacky, I'm sure that's her decision right now.
That's true.
And she can live with her own decisions, right?
Yeah, I mean, how many people look at their old high school yearbook photos and are like, what did I do with my hair?
Yeah.
You know, so like, again, even if she does have regrets, like Brian was saying, like, that's on her. You know, it's not your job to save her from having a life of regrets.
Yeah. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Confronting My Cousin About Stealing My Dress the Night Before Her Wedding? I'm a 27-year-old female and I'm getting married later this year and announced a tentative date a while ago. Seemingly out of nowhere, my cousin, a 28-year-old female, decided to get married exactly 1 week before I was planning to. I have been trying on wedding dresses for the past couple of months. My cousin's mother asked to see some of the dresses that I had tried on, so my mother sent her a video of one of her final picks. I didn't think much of it, as I wanted my extended family to feel included. A few weeks pass, and I get a call from the boutique. I had paid for a deposit for my dress. They informed me that my cousin and her mother had come into their store with a video of me in my dress and asked to get something exactly like it. One of the sales associates sold them the exact dress in a cream color instead of white, which was my dress's color. The store owner was very apologetic and offered a refund since she realized that two girls from the same family can't wear the same dress. I will likely have a lot of the same guests at my wedding. I was in disbelief, and I was hoping that it was all a terrible mix-up. I immediately messaged my cousin and casually asked to see the dress that she had purchased. For weeks, she created stories about either not finding a dress or having it altered, so she couldn't show me. Finally, the night before the wedding, she invited my mom and I over for some last minute help. Again, we asked to see her dress, and she finally caved and brought it out. Of course, it was the exact same dress. I was extremely hurt and asked why she would go out of her way to steal my wedding dress, knowing full well that her wedding is before mine, which means everyone would see it on her before me. I said if she had spoken to me beforehand, I might have chosen to let her have the dress, but she went behind my back and chose to lie about it repeatedly. Things got heated, and I ended up leaving. I'm not sure if I even want to go to her wedding tomorrow after the stunt that she has pulled. Everyone in my family thinks that I'm overreacting and should have just kept my mouth shut until after our wedding instead of creating animosity the night before the big day. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. It's pretty clear here that the cousin and aunt are intentionally trying to upstage you and essentially steal your wedding. They set the wedding a week before yours so she could be first, and they stole your dress, so now you're going to look like a copycat.
Yeah, and what else has she stolen of your wedding theme and everything else, right? I imagine that she's been getting a slow drip of information from people because no one's going to expect you to, like, suddenly steal a whole wedding planned, right? And I think it's just really unfortunate. Who knows why she's doing this, but it's very twisted that someone would go out of their way, or very unimaginative, right? Well, it's one, unimaginative, and it's a bit twisted in the respect that, like, she didn't put any of the effort into this, right? And so she's trying to steal the effort that you put into this to make it seem like she's the one who was unique and creative, and instead you're just the copycat.
Yeah, so I would make sure that everyone in your family has the full story. I don't understand how anyone is thinking you're overreacting. Like, make sure they all have the full story and know that you had this first and she literally stole your ideas.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I don't think the stealing the ideas is that big of a deal in the respect that it's your wedding. You're still going to have the wedding of your dreams. The important thing about a wedding is that you get to spend time celebrating your love with other people. And I mean, I certainly understand the frustration of feeling like somebody else has already done your wedding.
Well, yeah, but the concern is if people don't know the full story, they will gossip. Some of the reception gossiping about how tacky OP is for stealing the cousin's wedding.
Yeah, and they might do that, and that would be unfortunate. So, yeah, I think that this is just a really terrible place that she's put you in.
And you're well within your right not to go to her wedding. She does not seem like a nice person. You don't have to be in her life.
So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Laughing at My Boyfriend During a I Told You So moment? My boyfriend has a good job and has no problem spending money on stuff that matters to him. Other stuff, not so much. I have my own place and we alternate who spends the night with each other. He has the worst mattress. It has one spring that has snapped me in the back of the legs a few times. I told him that he needed to replace it because it was busted. He kept saying that he would, but he never did. I was in the shower yesterday and I heard him scream. I rinsed off and I went to see if he was okay. The spring caught him in the not so great place. I couldn't help it. I just giggled. It was sort of funny. He thinks I'm a jerk for laughing at his suffering. I told him that he didn't care that much when it was me and my legs getting it. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I mean, it's not great to laugh at people suffering, but that is kind of an automatic reaction. And also, what is this deal with him letting you repeatedly get hit in the legs and not caring about it? Like, it's kind of a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly, like, laughing at him wasn't necessarily the best taste, but maybe telling him that you're not going to spend any more time over at his apartment if he doesn't fix his mattress is probably one of the better ways of getting this taken care of. Because, like, you don't need to be getting injured on his mattress. So, it's really pretty awful that he's let it get to this point. I can certainly understand wanting to hold on to something until it's worn out, but it's worn out.
Yeah.
There is no more use out of this mattress. It is broken and is hurting people, so get rid of it.
And I have a feeling that now that it's hit him, it's suddenly going to get replaced.
Yeah.
And like that raises concerns for me about the relationship. Like, how concerned is he for OP? Like, is this a one-off, or are there consistently places in his life where he prioritizes his own wants and needs and doesn't really care about OP's?
And that's a really good question. And I think that that's something that you need to keep an eye out for, OP. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got a beverage of choice right here in Amber. She has a jovial Bobstein joke.
It's my birthday, so I figured I'd go with Jovial Bobstein. Who sleeps all day, bites necks, and puts out forest fires.
I would say someone who sleeps all night, bites people on the neck, and puts out forest fires is probably Smokey the vampire bear.
Smokey the Vampire.
Oh, Smokey the vampire. That's just not it. He just took two different concepts and it's like, I'm gonna mush these together. I'm Jovial Bobstein.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Oh no, it's terrible. And I have Mega Mint tea. And Amber, she says that she wants to talk about her book that she's getting ready to publish. So, Amber, why don't you tell people about the book?
Yes, I know people had some questions about what the basic premise is. So the basic idea is we have our main character, Alice, and she and her brother, Andy, are sent to the middle of nowhere, Maine, to clean out an estranged relative's estate. Now, Alice is really big on solving family mysteries, and there's been a lot of kind of secrecy around this particular branch of her family, and she's really excited to finally find the truth. But when she gets to Evanston, things are not as they seem. The people are dressed in kind of Victorian-y attire. They have kind of very conservative morals type of thing, and they don't seem very keen on having visitors, and things very quickly get a little scary. I guess is how I'd put it. So it's kind of, if you like kind of folk horror, thrillery type things, then you might enjoy it.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Monday, happy Manic Monday. I know a lot of people have today off, so if you have today off, I hope you're enjoying the time off. Amber, we need some kind of moral guidance, and please have in the form of an inspirational quote.
Want to know the best way to have your dream wedding?
Oh?
Get married. Don't hijack your sister's wedding.
I suppose so. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.